Hello, traders. Kozovic coming to you from theclosingprint.com, Sunday, September 21st, 2025. In this edition of your weekend video newsletter, we'll discuss the indices, all of which made new all-time highs, with particular strength in tech and semiconductors. This leaves us with 12 bullish indicators, 5 neutral, and 3 bearish. All things considered, we are looking for a small pullback of maybe 2 to 3% to start the week. JP Morgan collar at 65.05 is the prime target. All of the indices made new all-time highs. The S&P 500 up 7 weeks straight without a respite. Now that OPEX is out of the way, we're expecting a little weakness as options fill in. All the while, the New York FANG index also making new highs, trending along the 9/21 50-day moving averages. RSI is showing muscle. MACD and stochastics are bullish. So if we are going to have any weakness, I'd be keeping an eye on these stocks to begin with, along with small caps, which did make new all-time highs as well. We did retreat on Friday as we saw strength in the 10-year yield, which has rallied over the last 3 trading days. MACD and stochastics are rising. Potential for this to move back up towards the 50-day. That said, junk bonds are at highs, so there's no weakness here. If the markets are about to pull back, we'd expect to see junk bonds pulling back pretty aggressively. That's not the case at present. Neither is high-yield corporate. So keep an eye on these along with some of the other risky asset classes like Bitcoin, which is sitting in a zone just above the 50-day moving average. In addition to IBB, biotechs, we'd be expecting to see weakness here as well. If there is going to be a pullback, watch these risky asset classes for a retreat in the short term. All of the major indices, in addition to the mid caps and small caps, did retreat as decliners outnumbered the advancing stocks, with the exception of the NASDAQ, which you could see rose last week to end on Friday. New York Stock Exchange indicators also pretty bullish. Nothing's saying big pullback just yet, so we do have a lot of mixed signals. Advanced decline is at highs. And the New York Stock Exchange new highs minus new lows is still above the zero line. Though we did see a little bit of selling on Thursday and Friday, we still have green and blue elder sticks, which is pretty bullish, all things considered. S&P 500 equal weight index is also trending, though it did pull back a little bit on Friday. It is above the 9/21 and 50-day. Number of stocks above the 50 and the 20-day retreated a little bit as we saw profit taking into Friday's close. Finally, we have the ARCA Institutional Index, XII. This is the 75 stocks most commonly held in institutions' core portfolios. If there was a retreat or a reason to get out of the markets, this is one of the first things I'd be looking at, in addition to the New York Stock Exchange. We do see a green elder stick to finish the week off. And momentum indicators are fairly bullish. So if we do have any kind of pullback or consolidation after 7 weeks higher, I would expect to see some of these indicators confirm such a move in the short term. For now, the indices and indicators that we're watching are mostly bullish. For now, we have 12 bullish indicators, 5 neutral, and only 3 bearish to start the week. Sectors closed above their 20-day moving average, with the exception of real estate. We did see strength in communications, XLC, semiconductors, SMH, XLK, technology. Even consumer discretionary continued to move sideways, but it's above the 20-day, with consumer staples moving lower. So if consumer staples is moving lower, this ratio between consumer discretionary and consumer staples will continue to move higher. That's bullish. This looks nothing like 2022, the bear market, or at the February peak where this rolled over and gave us a bearish signal into the April 7th low. Overall, indices, bonds, currencies, commodities, and sectors are fairly bullish going into the week ahead. That said, we want to see options fill in, so expect a little weakness to start off on Monday. There's quite a few stocks on the IBD 50 that look pretty good for a follow-through this week. In particular, stocks with an asterisk next to the names, which should be paying attention to because they're showing exceptional strength, like Dave and Futu, along with all of the gold and silver miners. We had Lemonade, Joby Aviation, and Cognids all giving us very bullish looks going into this week. Keep an eye on the 20-50-day cross down there in orange. Some of these stocks will most likely continue as well. Watch the nukes. Those were strong as Oklo gained nearly 30% on Friday. Nanonuclear also finished strong along with New Scale Power, SMR. URA, uranium stocks also saw strength if you're still swinging these into Monday morning. Some of the industrials like Caterpillar also had a good week. We did see a little bit of profit taking on Friday, along with the strength in Robinhood as it gets added to the S&P 500, and noteworthy strength in Palantir. While Palantir bounced off the 50-day into Thursday and Friday, note the Bollinger Bands are opening up, RSI rising, volume increasing, MACD and stochastics are bullish. Looking for Palantir to finish higher this week as well. Dave, as previously mentioned, one of those stocks with asterisks next to them, looking pretty strong going into this week. Hims and Hers had a nice bounce on Thursday, followed through on Friday, looking for a move back up to 70, potentially this week. Along with the strength that we saw in semiconductors last week, with significant options activity amidst strategic semiconductor partnerships and evolving cryptocurrency regulatory landscapes. Look for semis to continue this week. In addition to the strength that we saw in gold and silver miners, many of these look like they're going to follow through with the strength in gold. After this long 20-week base breakout, we're starting to consolidate a bit right now. So there's potential for these gold stocks like Anglo Gold, Eldorado Gold, and many others to follow through this week. Okay, traders, that's going to do it for me. This is Cousin Vinny coming to you from theclosingprint.com. It is September the 21st, 2025. I'll send out a watch list later this evening before midnight on the East Coast and before 9 o'clock p.m. on the West Coast, most likely. I'm feeling a bit under the weather, so I'm going to cut it short in this weekend's video. However, I'm starting to feel better. The worst of it's passed on Saturday. I think I might have had a little bit of food poisoning. Anyway, let's wait for the opening bell tomorrow. See if there's any weakness in the futures tonight, and expect that we might see a little bit of weakness, and expect that we might see a little pullback to start the week as options fill in after a major OPEX on Friday. Have a great weekend. Take care, and we'll see you in the morning. Ciao.